Okay, guys, so we're back again. This time we're talking about solving one variable equations. Something that you probably did a lot last year using the hands-on equations kit. So first thing we're going to do is talk about the vocabulary. Algebraic equation, identities, inverse operation, no solution, or unidentified, and solution. So please make sure you copy these down just on the same sheet that you're going to write your notes down on and your examples. All right, so we're going to start off with a little review, and this is solving a one-step equation. Why is it called a one-step equation? Because you only have to do, you got it, one step. And in this case, our one step is going to be to do what? Yes, you are correct. It is going to be to divide. Why are we going to divide? Because we're going to do the inverse operation of what we currently have. We currently have multiplication. This reads 3x, which means 3 times x. So we're going to do the inverse operation to figure out what x is. So we're going to divide by 3, and remember to divide by 3 on both sides. Whatever you do to one side, you have to make sure that you do to the other one, okay? So 3 divided by 3 is going to give us 1. Don't say cancels out. It doesn't cancel out. It just becomes a 1 and then x equals 21 divided by 3, which is 7. Now, when we do have a variable with a 1 in front of it, we don't have to write the 1. So then we just write x equals 7. And for our next example, now we're going to get into the actual meat of the lesson. Solving two-step equations. Why is it called a two-step equation? You got it right, because we're going to do 2 steps. So the 2 steps that we're going to do in this equation are going to help us to isolate the variable m. So we're going to use our inverse operations again. So we're going to start with the number that's farthest away from the variable. So we're going to first add and subtract, and then multiply or divide, okay? So in this case, we have addition. So the inverse operation is subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. Remember, whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So 10 minus 2 equals 8, and positive 2 minus a negative 2, or positive 2 minus 2, is 0. And we don't have to write the 0 because it's just a placeholder. So we're going to have m divided by 4. So this was our step 1. All done. Now we have 8 equals m divided by 4. But we still don't have 4 by itself. So this time we have division. So our inverse operation is going to be multiplication. So we're going to multiply by 4 on both sides. Oh, almost didn't get a 4 right there. So 8 times 4 is going to be what? Yes, you guessed it, 32. And then this multiplying this, m divided by 4 times 4 gives us 4 divided by 4, which gives us again a 1, and then our variable. So our final answer is going to be m equals 32. Now on to the next one. The next example is 7 equals 2y minus 3. So again, it's another two-step equation. So we're going to remember, add and subtract first, and then either multiply or divide. So now we have this subtraction. We have 2y minus 3. So we're going to do the inverse operation, which is to add. So we're going to add 3 to both sides. Oh, I'm moving my thing out the way. Add 3 to both sides. And 7 plus 3 is 10. And equals 2y, because negative 3 plus positive 3 is going to give us 0. We don't have to write 0 because 0 is just a placeholder. So this was our step 1. And now we're moving on to our step 2. So we have multiplication once again. 2 directly beside this y means 2 times y. So now we're going to divide. And remember, you have to divide on both sides. And 2y divided by 2 is going to give us 1y. 10 divided by 2 is going to give us 5. So our final answer is going to be y equals 5. Okay, so the next one is solving multi-step equations. Multi-step equations. Anything that has more than 2 steps is going to be called a multi-step equation. So in this, we have to use some of the things that we learned in the previous lesson, which is going to be combining like terms, and then we can solve. Because here we have 2c plus c. So we have to combine the like terms before we can solve anything. So 2c plus 1c is going to give us 3c. 3c plus 12 equals 78. And you just bring the 12 down because you don't have to do anything else with it just yet. Now we're going to start with actually solving for c. So remember, add or subtract first. So we have addition here. So we're going to do the inverse operation, which is to subtract. So we're going to subtract 12 from both sides. And then we're going to have 3c, because positive 12 minus 12 is going to give us a 0, and we don't have to write the 0, equals 78 minus 12, which is 66. But we aren't quite finished yet, because now we have 3c equals 66. And we still have to separate the 3 from the c. Let me erase that because that looks terrible. And try again. 66. There we go. So now we're going to separate the 3 from the c. We have multiplication, so we're going to use division because that's our inverse operation. 3 divided by 3 is going to give us 1, so we're going to have 1c equals, yep, you guessed it, 22. So our final answer is c equals 22. We're going to have another multi-step example. The first thing we have to do is what? Magical word starts with a D. We learned about it in our last video. Distribute. We're going to distribute the negative 2 to the B and to the negative 4. So negative 2 times B is going to be negative 2B. Negative 2 times negative 4 is going to be a positive 8. And that's all going to equal 12. Now we can start solving for our B. So we're going to subtract 8 on both sides. And we're going to be left with negative 2b equals 4. Because 12 minus 8 equals 4. Then we're going to divide by negative 2 on both sides. And b equals negative 2. Because negative 2 times negative 2 gives us a positive 4. Like always, make sure you blog all your questions or comments or your concerns, and I'll try to get back with you as soon as possible. All right, see you in class.